Hey guys, Art131 once again, and we are in week 8 still, and we are at assignment 16, which is a drawing of an animal. I mentioned this once before. I think if you are good at painting, you can paint one. But if you are a super beginner and not so confident, maybe you should stay with drawing. It's also possible to branch out and maybe use some colored pencils or pastels if you wish, um, as long as you have contrast to show the shape of what you're drawing. I don't want to see something really flat because you used like one little color here and one little color there. When you're using color to draw anything and you want contrast, you're going to have a darker version of that color. If it's a blue, you want a dark blue where you're shading the shape where the light isn't hitting. We talk about this with graphite. With graphite, you just make it a darker tone. Well, with color, you need to have a darker version of that color. Now, you can do that in various ways with paint, using white and black to make the initial color, blue or red or whatever it is, darker and lighter. Then more advanced ways of doing that too in painting, which, I don't think we need to get into now. If you're advanced, you probably know what they are. But colored pencils, you're going to need to either add black in there to darken the shade you have, or use a darker version of the blue to make it, or red or whatever it is, whatever color you want to have a shadow side of that color, you need to have a darker version of it. Okay, so I want to see that because I want shape in whatever you're drawing. Here's some on Bing, drawing of animals. Some of them are colored. But, like take the lion, for instance. There's a darker version of that sort of orangey tan color here that ends up being sort of a dark brown. And you could use that with orange. Dark brown could represent the shadow side or shadow areas of the tiger. And the kitten here, that's almost just black and white with some grays. So this one a little darker in here around the nose, right, and lighter here. You have to find the colors for that. Look for them. Don't just make, the whole face of this guy is just one color. No, it isn't. Because he's got shape to him or her, they, or whatever that is, whatever you want to call it. They, them. And lots of ideas. Horses, dogs, cats, raccoons, rats, elephants. Lots of different ideas here. I like that squirrel. Of course, graphite is in charcoal. You can be just using those for that. Okay. It could be, I'll open it up to even doing something like this. If you want to get into some, more stylized abstract of an animal, that would be cool, as long as we can tell it is an animal, okay? That would be the main thing. You want to do a little bit more, and do something along these lines, go ahead. Let's just open it up, but try to get the typical animal shape out of what animal you're drawing and shade it so that it has a shape. I would say this is a good drawing, but it has very little shading. If you're going to have a nose that black and the eyes that black, this has got to have some darker areas in it too, probably. Just slightly. This is a better dog, a wolf or husky or whatever. It's got more contrast. The nose doesn't look odd in there because I know this could be a white wolf, okay. Maybe it is. And this is even better for that guy. He's got real good contrast. It's a very strong drawing. Okay, so let's do that. And then the homework is to draw something ugly, something that you wouldn't normally draw because you don't like it, or you find it ugly, or you find it whatever. Maybe you find it offensive, but draw it anyway because it's a discipline. The discipline is drawing something you normally wouldn't draw and then draw it really well. So that's a discipline because you don't really want to draw it, but you have to draw it because I'm asking you to, and that's the assignment, and you're going to draw it really well. Okay, so that could be anything. I had, people doing ugly cats and animals, or a spider or a snake, or somebody did their asthma inhaler. They didn't like that, thought it was ugly. Somebody did cigarette smoking, face, cigarette hanging out of a mouth, thought that was ugly. So whatever you think is ugly and you don't want to do it, but you're going to draw it really well, and you're going to put all that shading in. Shading, shading, shading. I talk about it all day long because that's what gives you the shape. That's what makes a strong drawing. Otherwise, it's flat. It doesn't have a shape. Okay? So draw something ugly and send that to me and fill the page, put a background in it. Don't just draw one little tiny thing and then, oh, here you go. At this end of the semester, you need to be putting in everything you've learned, perspective-wise, proportion-wise, placement, composition, everything we've talked about, and the shading. So get that all together for the homework. Draw your animal, shade, 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 shading, shape. Okay, and then if you haven't sent me your work, it's starting to head toward the end of the semester now, and you're going to get really in deep trouble if you don't have enough assignments to pass the class, or you're struggling to finish them all in 1 week. And I'm asking you to do more to them because it's not a very good drawing because you rushed through it. So start taking the time to finish up prior assignments and get them to me ASAP. All right, thank you. We'll talk with you next week.